Hey everybody, it's Marty of the JavaScript Party. My buddy Rhett. I already gave her nut because I did like my 2016 video. Because today is the first day of 2016. It's 11:55 a.m., so it's just before lunch. Um, yeah, just before noon. So we're still in the morning. It is 48 degrees outside Fahrenheit, and I was outside in a t-shirt, in this t-shirt. Just walked around just a few minutes ago. That was I've definitely 48 degrees would have probably literally damaged my skin 6 months ago. And now it's like I feel normal out there. It's just incredible how much our bodies adapt to the environment. Here we go. So I've got a bug, and there's a couple of things that I definitely don't like. I think like I have these feelings that are very like typical for me, but I'm starting to realize that this is the feeling I get when I've written code that's just too abstract, too difficult to understand. So I don't know, I'm kind of coming up with this, but there's a couple of moving parts here that I'm not fully grasping at this point. And one of them is like when these effects are getting called and why they're getting called. Um, I believe I don't understand. So I guess it's this update dimensions signal handler that is triggering this effect. So maybe I should, at least for a while, this effect is triggered by, okay, so this is what triggers it. And then this is what's executed. And this is our viz component. So basically we have something that we're listening to that's supposed to be telling us um, that it's supposed to be telling us that the dimensions have changed. I'm guessing that. So then it's supposed to um, it gets the viz width and the viz height, which are passed in. So this gets passed in, and then whenever that gets passed in. So now I actually think that the viz width and viz height might also trigger this. Um, because those are signals as well. I believe that's a signal, right? Yeah, input signal. So, so we're gonna do this console. Oh, we're gonna add. So one, this effect is, and I believe, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I believe triggered by the viz width. It's just always signal. And I guess that's a signal as well. And it's just absolutely amazing how much you can get done without actually understanding what you're doing. And I think that that is like the fact that you're able to accomplish something does not mean that you understand what's happening, and the fact that you're not able to accomplish something does not mean that you don't understand it. So you can understand it and not be capable of doing it. You can be capable of doing it and not understand it. Um, and like so if you're like, well, I was able to write this code and do this, and so that means I understand that technology, you're 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 deluding. You might be deluding yourself. Um, and then if you say, well, he clearly doesn't understand what's going on because or she, because she can't actually code or he can't actually code, then um, then that might also be incorrect. Okay, begin component, and this is our viz component effect, and then end viz component effect. So basically, I think what happens is that um, these three different, oh, this one might also be, oh, that's also, so the input ID, if the input ID changes, it might get fired. And I don't know if this fires 3 times as each one of these signals fires, or if this whole thing fires 1 time. So for dot is triggered by the st render input ID. Now, I don't believe that this number comes from here at all. So, um, so, and I don't know exactly. Okay, so, and then, oh, this also gets fired after the view is initted too. Um, so, and this might be, this after view event might be why it's right in the one circumstance where we've actually done things. So I'm gonna hit F12. I don't know if we made any changes that would cause. Okay, boom, and then I want to clear this, and I want to hit update. So begin layout effect. We're looking for the ands, right? Oh, so that's interesting. It does, oh, uh, I guess it was compiling that whole time. Is and update. And I mean, for me, this is fun. I'm having a blast right now. This is what I do for fun. Um, begin update. So this is the outer, right? This is the update layout event, and then this is we're back in the update again. Oh, begin viz component. See, so the update changes, and that makes sense because we just changed the like 3 things. And so since it did get called 3 times, I'm guessing that doesn't look like this got called 3 times. So I'm guessing that that um, since it didn't get called 3 times, oh, I'm guessing that yeah, that it only fires once for the signal and for the 3 different signals. And that's the width, the height, or yeah, the resize and the width, the height, and there's actually 4 signals. The component effect. And it sure would be nice if there was a way to know which who was this what caused the effect to run? Was this or this or a combo? That would be really, really cool. Um, and then I guess it might be useful. Effect count is equal to 0. Then, because right now I'm really okay. So after okay, so this actually calls that effect, and actually I don't. Now that I think about it, this is a signal handler. Okay, this is not a signal. So this actually is not true. This is the signal handler. That's this guy right here. So that's wrong. So these are the three things that will cause this effect to run. 3. So the signal handler, it's not listening for the signal handler. The signal handler, what does this even return? It just returns a Boolean. Oops, wrong one. Yeah, it just returns a Boolean. So yeah. So this will not fire it. It's these guys in here that fire it. And yeah, so and I would probably be useful to add a comma and then this dot effect count. So we're going to do this, and I believe if I do a plus plus here, it'll actually not show. I'm curious about this. For this thing to redraw, 12. So I feel like this is unfortunate, right? The effect is running code when it shouldn't. Because we don't even have to update layout displayed. So it shouldn't be showing stuff right now. Curious about something. D. This is so weird. I guess there's like a bug in Windows because I keep dragging stuff into my like D drive into my like a flash USB flash stick, and like I keep dragging it and it's just not there. And I think what I've figured out that what in the world? So so what I would typically do is do a control X, cut a a, a file in my file system, and then paste it into this drive, and then go and do other ones too. And I noticed that like when I go back and look at the old ones, they're gone, and it's deleting the original too. So that is a bummer. Okay, so DreamHost. So this is what is this flashcard builder? That's so weird. Oh, now it says it's there. Oh, saying that the file is corrupt now. And I don't know if it's complaining about. Yeah, I don't know exactly. All right, so there's definitely something weird about saving multiple files. Anyways, all right, so we definitely need to get this to where it doesn't run anything if it's not active, because this is definitely wasted CPU. And while it's not a big deal now, it probably will be in the future. Um, all right, so we added our viz, and then we have our ands. This is okay, so that's 0. Okay, I'm curious if I make this. I believe if I make this plus plus, then it will add it before it prints it. I believe I can do that. I'm not 100% sure. This is not like something that was in the original JavaScript. Yep. Oh wait, not looking at the right thing. Yeah. So it looks like, yeah, if we put the plus plus before this, it'll show us, it'll update it and then draw it. If we put it after, it won't. So now I'm curious, okay, if I close this, If I clear that out and then I change, now my guess is we'll be back to 1 again. Yep, we're 1 because the old component got deleted and the new component got created. And now if I do update, and where's our, it's 1 again. But now I think if I resize it, it won't be 1. It'll be a different number. Yeah, see, we're up to 4. 3. And so it would be so nice just from a debugging perspective if I could say, okay, why? Why did this effect run? But I'm pretty sure it's because the width and the height changed. And if the width or height changes or the input ID changes, then it will run that effect. Which I would think that that component is going to be the one that knows what happens. So it's probably important that we run whatever does the final aspect ratio updating, which is going to be in ThreeJS. See, that's like kind of the other thing I was sort of in a blind spot, not thinking about was that yes, there's the Angular that's interacting with the DOM, but there's also ThreeJS, and that is happening. Um, so okay, so basically, I think what we want to do is we want to take the width and the height and divide them by each other and see, because I'm curious. Um, it's the width over the height, I believe. One, yeah, so that is a little bit bigger, yeah. So width divided by this dot is height. Okay, so I don't know if like the calculated ratio is going to be 12 and then update. So it's going to be in that after. Is this the last after? Oh man, why am I having such a hard time? Okay, there's after 129. So this is actually right. Oh, okay. Well, we knew it was going to be right because we didn't actually do what breaks it. Yeah. Now it'll break. Now I'm curious on the after 146. So yeah. So this knows the correct. That is right. That is exactly what it should be. But this is what it is, and this is because the aspect ratio is never set. Again, it looks like the aspect ratio gets set. I don't know, probably, I don't know where it gets set. So let's do that. Okay, so we know the after is right. Okay, so this is the correct AR. So we know that at this point we know the correct AR. So whatever is setting the aspect ratio at the very least should probably be updated. And not only that, but we do have a function called update old that we handle. stuff. So let's go to this because it almost feels like this. This looks like the place. This is console log. Okay, this is where the true information is known, right? Like the only one that really knows the size of everything is this viz component. Actually, I think the parent seems to know, but it seems like the actual what is like right now what what the parent knows is what the update layout knows is that the size, this width and this height is a certain amount, but it doesn't actually know the width and the height of the component. And they're the same right now. They're exactly the same right now, but it's only because it's a side effect. And in the future, this will actually become an issue because I do want to be able to see it as intended. Right now, it's taken 100%. The idea is, hey, when you're in edit mode, you're going to want to look at as much as you can look at. But it is possible that you don't want to look as much as you want to look at. You want to see it in its original, how it's intended to be displayed in the visualization. And in that case, that side effect is no longer valid. So I think this is where we know is component. And again, I think that what is getting pointed out here is that the system is too abstract. It's too confusing right now. This should not be that hard. Um, and we have had some stories where we're like, oh, debounce the the log message, right? Debounce that. That all went clean and simple. It was because we fully understand everything was going on. Now we're in this like bizarre flailing around, just randomly writing, trying to randomly write code, hoping that something works. And that is not what you want to do. You do not want to be. Sometimes you have to. That I'm not. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes you have no choice, but you don't want to be there if you don't have to be there. All right. So I don't care about any of this stuff until we get to here. And even there, I don't care. It's when we resize. Okay, so we are so this is where the ratio gets set, it looks like. And then um, begin effect. Okay, so what is going on? Okay, it's and, right? And begin biz component. Render cha cha cha. Calculated AR for 7. Wait. Oh, this is our render service by render ID. Okay, here's where. What is this one? Okay, this is in the publisher service. So this is where it's getting calculated, right? In this render service up here. But it really should be. So this is happening right after begin render cha-cha-cha. So that's in our viz service. Okay, this is where the viz service now it calls this. So viz service number 47 gets called line 47, which is our render. Okay. So it's getting called render. Okay, so that gets called there, but what I care about actually is where is render getting called? So it feels like maybe I need to do this ordering thing. This update dimensions. I bet you it's in here. Okay, so why would I? See, I think it's in this update dimensions. Okay, so that is line 58. Line 58, update dimension signal handler. Okay, so this is interesting. Okay, so basically the sequence service is getting updated. So it's going to get updated over and over again. So let's put a little note there because that probably is not what we want. Okay, so called multiple times during browser reset. Probably not ideal. Probably not a big deal, but it's probably not ideal. Um, because it's I'm guessing that all this thing does is go to definition. Yeah, see, this uses the ST dictionary set type for ST, the ID and the type. So it's just rewriting it over and over again. It's saying, hey, this is this type, this is this type, this is this type over again. Because I believe that well, maybe not. Oh, yeah, because, yeah, see, where are you? Set type. That's this line here. So it goes and looks for the ID that is in there, and then it sets the type. So it's just going to keep doing that. Probably don't want to just keep doing that. Maybe it'd be a good candidate for debouncing. Um, but really, I guess we should only be calling this when it's getting set. This probably should only be called when it has never been set. When it has never been set. So we probably should like create like a component variable and like mark it as set and then only call this if it hasn't been set yet. But I'll probably come back and take care of that later. And it almost feels like this update old. Well, this is weird, right? Because if this was in fact, so I believe this is where it's getting set. Update dimension handler, go to service, update dimensions. Maybe not. I don't see anything calling that service. Okay. How does that service get called? I guess that is the big question. All right, let's go back here, go to the console. So this service is getting called, this render service. No, viz service is getting called right at the beginning. So this isn't our viz service, and that's getting called right at the beginning. I do not know. Okay. Render view child. Okay, so let's actually do a control F render. Does not look like, well, well, shoot. How do you get called? I guess the only way we're going to figure that out is by putting a debug on it. All right. So the problem right now is we're trying to figure out how in the world this guy, oh, he's getting called by this render in native element call. Control F, render in, and that only happens apparently after view init. Well, maybe not, because I see there's 3 calls, so. Update. Okay, so it does happen actually here in this update dimension signal handler. And it's supposed to be updating with the new height and new width. Okay. So I believe that this get renderer service. Okay. Render in native element, comma, width, comma, height, comma, width divided by height. F12, and then console. And then clear this. It didn't matter though. Then update. Boom. Doom. Doom. Clear. And then. Okay, so we were looking for render in native element. Okay. So 657, 522, 672, 522, which is right. 128. But for some reason, it's 134. So that is weird. Okay, so let's get rid of this filter. Calculated AR. Okay, I feel like okay, we're sort of learning on 2 sides, right? We're kind of coming from the source, and I think we've really narrowed down the source now. We have to kind of work back from the destination, like how did calculated AR after this is the correct, yes. Yes, I agree with that. We do know the true information, but we actually do know it even before that. Um, but it looks like for some reason, see this one, okay, setting, so the update layout component, and that is really interesting because the update layout component set it to the wrong number. Right, 687. And that is wild, actually, now that I think about it, because basically what's happening is our update layout effect is firing after our component with the numbers that this, well, the expected props is 657. All right, visual component. This is where the true six. Where's the beginning? Okay. End layout effect. Begin viz component effect. Number 4. This is the fourth one. 672 by 522, which we believe is correct. We believe that is correct. Now, oddly enough, after this has been updated, which I thought was triggered by the outer one, we're in update layout and it has 687 by 1000, 672. App update layout component line 51. So that's wrong. Then this resize visualization is an app layout component. What does that do? Finalize initialization. Okay, so we need to find this. Fortunately, it's misspelled, so it'll be easy to find. And then we do a timeout, set timeout, which is from resize visualization, comma. Let's see. I think it's important. I think it's important to put where I'm at. So right now I'm in update layout. And I'm in the resize visualization function. We'll start all over again. Man, I thought this was going to be so much easier than it ended up being, because I really thought there was just going to be some function I was going to find somewhere that just needed to be debounced. It was going to be simple. but I was wrong. And if I could give you one piece of advice if you want to be a computer programmer, is if it bothers you to be wrong, it's not the right field to be in, or learn how to not be bothered by being wrong. Because you'll be right a lot more than you're going to be wrong, but man, are you going to be wrong a lot. That's just the nature of the beast. All right, so we are looking now for this update layout visualization comment. There we go. 687 by 522. Okay, so we're right. We know we're right at this point. This is not a surprise. But if we make this bigger, now, update layout visualization 714 by 522, which I believe is correct, which is 136. So for some reason at this point, we did not get it, the calculated AR. So that was what I thought was happening, but that is not right. All right, so let's kind of go back. Let's go to this view, and then is it down here? Okay, so this is going to the publisher service calculated AR aspect ratio signal. So let's find that. Go to implementation, or go to definition. Go to definition, I guess. All right. So this needed to be set. Somewhere this gets set. And it just needs the calculation, the aspect ratio, not even anything too particularly difficult. And now, so this is the actual call in the renderer service. We call it, and then it looks like we call it in app layout. Which I think this is a mistake. And then actually, it's kind of weird because we get it from here and then we calculate it and then we send it back, which is, that's weird. Update dimensions, parent. Yeah, it looks like this is where we set it. And it looks like this is where we should set it, but I don't think that's right because in the component it knows, and this set calculated aspect ratio. The component is the one that knows what the actual aspect ratio is supposed to be. It right now it's the same as this. So, but um, but it won't always be. It will be in the component. And what I don't understand, what I don't know, what I can't visually imagine is, so this is like, am I gonna? I don't think I'll end up kicking off some sort of infinite loop where I'm setting the AR there, it's publishing, then that's causing something to happen up here, and then that's happening down there again. I don't think that's the case, but I do think, okay, so let's see what set calculated aspect ratio is, because this is not the same one. Oh, okay, so that's not even the, okay, so actually, so this is our spec, so we don't care about that. Render, okay, so the render service is the one who will set and we publish the aspect ratio. So I guess it's wherever we call publish, which I like that name a lot better than set because it does also say, hey, there's people listening. So that gets called from here, right? So update. Okay, so here. Okay, I'm going to change this to update. Well, we're going to say st-renderer service, st-renderer. I think we're getting close. Service, and then update aspect ratio by ID for width and height. Put that there. Okay, so now it's going to screw everything up, of course. But it looks like whatever is calling this, and it might make sense, like wherever it's getting called now, it might just need to be also added to another. We might just want to call this from the component itself or the component service. All right, so this gets called from still within here. Okay, so this is our render by D. So let's get rid of this. And I've been doing these. Okay. St render service. So we did go through this backwards, right? So that, and I have found myself a lot of times when I'm doing debugging is like I'll start kind of from one side of the like, oh, okay, I know this is the source of what I'm trying to figure out, and then I know this is the destination, and sort of study one side, understand it a little better, then go back to the other side until the bridge connects. I've definitely that is a big part of my learning scheme. All right, so this happens in here in render by ID and the st-renderer service. Now let's figure out where render by ID gets called. And I know I could have come up with like a fix like a while back. Something that I could have just debounced and made a call and it would just, but I really want to fix this right because if we were right at the end, if we were like, oh, okay, we're right at the end, or this thing's fully featured and blah, 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 but we're so close to the beginning that like it really needs to be nice and tidy at this point. Okay, so now we're in our viz service. This is viz service. And then this is render. And then this is comma width comma height comma width divided by height. And then let's add viz 12 clear this view clear this view clear. And what I'm looking for is this viz service render. And let's say viz. Okay, so here's one. I think that might be the only one. and it was okay. It's kind of weird. Okay, so the ratio should be 1 2. Oh, but it's 127. Okay, so this is weird because I was thinking that this didn't get called with the right, but it did. So I don't know why it's at 127. Oh, publisher setting AR to 1. So this guy is getting called for some reason. So publisher setting AR, that's in the publisher service. Update aspect ratio. Okay, so this is the old one, calculated for 663. ST renderer service, update aspect. So this is not correct. So this guy knows the right number, which is 644 by 522. But this guy is getting the wrong one. ST renderer service. Are we in ST renderer service right now? No, we are in Viz service. That was this guy. So for some reason, this is wrong, right? 622. Yeah, that's wrong. This guy's getting called. We don't know exactly how he's getting called. All right, so I'm going to clear. I guess it doesn't matter. Okay. So he got called, and he got called by render by ID. And this thing is looking at the elements offset width, 644, which is old. Ah, okay. So this is actually looking at the actual offset width of it. But the actual element has not actually been changed. So this thing got resized, but this guy in here is still the old size. So render by ID is getting called before the actual element is called. Okay, so now render, and that's getting called from here, and he actually does have the right width and height, right? So the width is 658 by 522, which I think did I make it smaller or bigger? It was 644 by 522. Now it's 658. So I must have dragged it out, I guess. I don't know. It's weird. I thought the way it looks right now, it seems like this guy's actually bigger. Let's see. Can we? I don't know if we can mid debug click on things. Yeah. So 658 by 522. Okay, so this is oh, that is so fascinating. Okay, so this guy right here, this visualization is 644 by 522, but the canvas ID, this guy itself is 658. It has not been updated yet. And I think that's because the animation scheme is what will update this size. Um, so this is not, it's not looking at the right width and height because it's looking at the actual elements width and height, and the elements width and height is still old, which I thought that was a great idea at the time. But now I don't. Now I think, oh man, this is not good because um, I thought that and this gets me in trouble all the time. I thought, oh, okay, well, if we look at the element itself, we are good. But that is not true. And that's a bummer. Okay, so and then this is happening in the ST render service. So I think what we need to do is we need to actually pass in a width and a height, and if it has an actual width and height passed in, that's optional. And if it has a width and a height passed in, then it will be, then we'll use the width and height that's passed in. Otherwise, we actually use the object itself. Oof, that's nasty. It made so much sense, right? It made so much sense to use the actual HTML element. But this is the reality that I just did not expect. Now, let's hang on one second. So what are we looking at though? So we have the HTML element. Let's go back over to here. What is the HTML element? The DOM element is, okay, so yeah. Okay, so the DOM element is actually, element ref native element. What is this? Usually you can mouse over and it'll kind of show you on the screen what it is. Okay, so this is the actual div itself. All right, let's go back here again. Okay, so I don't know if, okay, so I'm going to run it out and see it. Does it end up at 658 or does it end up at 644? I've gotten a little confused. Or are we even, I think we're in the debugger, right? Yeah. It's weird that it didn't give me, it usually gives you like a little play button right there. So it's 658 or 644, right? So, oh, it ended up at 616. So we were already at a middle thing. Oh, 118. Okay, so let's try it again. Okay, I'm getting bigger. Okay, we got to remember that. Okay, so, oh, this is actually good. So we see that the actual viewport is bigger. And so it was 616 because we can see that the screen hasn't had a chance to update yet. But our 16. Okay, I'm gonna hit run. I think we'll come in here again. Yeah, so now we're at 632. But then this, I'm a little confused now. Render, I think it happens in here, right? This is, yeah, see, render set size width to 726 and 522. We are in Viz service. So we call this render set size. Okay, so that is the size that we're going to set, but now it's using the element of the parent. That's why, okay, so the actual canvas is in fact correct. And I do think that actually the right thing to do is set the send the width and the height and not the native element. I think the native element made a lot of sense because it's like, oh, okay, it's the native element. It knows what its width and height is, but it actually lags. It gets updated after everything else, which is not like I don't I don't feel like I made any bad decisions here. I think I just because I think it makes sense that the native element would be right, but it's not. Um, but it is right like when you first load, right? It's just when you resize that there's some timing issues here. So basically, resize needs to be different than um, loading, and I guess we need to accomplish that. I I freaking hate that. I well, maybe we should pass in one other thing, one optional element, which is the actual AR. And in this is just one, I don't think there's a good answer. I think the problem is that the way you come, the way these things work themselves out is different when you come in and you're just rendering the 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 page and the visualization than when you're resizing. It's just the it's just different. And since it's different, you need different situations. But the but it has to be coded in such a way that like in a couple weeks when or the next time I have to get in this code, I'll be able to make sense of what's going on. And I don't know that there's a way to tell the difference right now between like, okay, am I resizing because am I drawing because I've been resized or am I drawing because um or am I drawing because um and I guess it's larger. And maybe it is back to the original like this other thing this initialized and I was like, hey, if it's initialized, don't run it. Um if it's been initialized, then everything works fine during that initialization. It's during when we're changing it and it already exists. I guess that is the foundational issue here is if it already exists, we're getting the wrong thing. But if it doesn't already exist, we aren't. And we can tell if it already exists, right? So in the viz component, okay, I like the fact that I handle this at the viz component. I think that is smart. And I may not think it's smart in the future, but in this viz component, during our effect, we actually have this effect count, right? So basically, the effect count was just something just for debugging purposes, just for debugging. But we do want to know, is it initialized? Component initialized. Because we know everything works perfectly if if it hasn't been initialized. And then, okay, I'm gonna just do this. Let's just okay, so oh, did I named it initialized, right? Oh, component initialized. Okay, console log. This is when it breaks. Else. Okay, so first of all, if it's not initialized, then we want to mark it as this dot component initialized is equal to true. And console log, it works. This is when it works. I'm just going to do this. SF dash. This is for success fail, success fail. And that's just so that I can have it to filter on. Okay, so now I want to play this one out. Let's get rid of our debug statement. Play the movie. And then so see, like this is when it'll work, right? It's going to be fine. Are we in the? We're not in the right thing. Okay, hit run. And it's because it's 200 by 200. So there's no issues there. Okay, this is, I think it was SF. So all we ever got was this is when it works, right? Now, this is when it won't work. We're just going to double check that my brain is working properly. Okay, we are not in the debugger, so let's change views, update, then resize. And we're here. So this is when things go bad, and it's because at this point, the only way this happens, this has probably happened other ways in the future, but the only way this happens right now is that the user has, in fact, resized. And then there's a timing issue that the element, as you can see right now, this element is still too big, and we were using the element to determine what the AR should be based on the element, but that's wrong. The element is laggy, but we do know what it's going to be. We know that it's going to be console log, get rid of our. We know that the correct value is going to be. So that's wrong. Let's see. Let's see. Did we? This is the correct AR. Oh, of course I didn't actually print it out. Can I mouse over this? No, it won't tell me, just straight up. See if in the, yeah, it doesn't tell me. I just can't believe I don't actually print out the width and the height. But I believe that the width and the height that we're using is not 726. Okay, so what is it? That's this is width. Let's try that. I've never tried this before. It shouldn't be a problem. Is width. Tab. Enter. 710. So yeah, so we know the correct is going to be 710, not 726. So in this specific situation, we know that, okay, so, okay, so, okay, edge case. That's what we're dealing with right now is, okay, so the user, okay, user resized, size the UI, but the browser, the actual element is wrong this time. So the AR has to be updated for the future width. So basically, um, we know what it's supposed to be, but unfortunately we can't. Um, Unfortunately, the width is not correct and the height um, at this point in time. If you just look at the element, so we have to hard set it, and so we could be very clever and write some kind of code that just does it, but I do know that like it took me a long time. It took me like all week to get up to speed on this. I don't want it to take me all week to get up to speed next time. So we know that in the renderer service that we have this renderer by ID that updates the aspect ratio for a width and we do actually have a way to do it manually. Update aspect ratio for by ID for width and height. Okay, I don't think that is what I wanted to do. So one thing we could do is we could like put like a delay and have it call a little bit later. But the problem is that that's just a race condition. Um, so we probably don't want to do that. If three camera, update aspect ratio, render. And the thing is it's not actually even. Actually, I think we do need to do a delay because, yes, I'll be able to get the number to be right down here, but it won't actually update it. This is what actually updates it. So we have to wait till the element div is correct. And not only that, but like when we're moving it back and forth, we don't really want to call this over and over again until they've stopped. So yeah, maybe we do need to, in the viz component, like this probably should not get called. Okay, so I think it's okay to update these two. Okay, so actually this should only get called on initialization. There's no reason, if it's already been initialized, to call it over and over again. So, and then update old. I think that needs to be called every time. So update old, I believe, needs to be called every single time, even if it's just for a fraction of a second, like while they're doing that, because I believe all update old does is update the data. Update old. See, like literally all it's changing is these. Now this could lead to a one of that weird bug where it's just like something changed before we could update it or whatever. And if that does happen, we might need to like throttle that or debounce it or something. Um, and then this one, I believe, should only get called if it hasn't been initialized. But we shouldn't be like reassociating it to the object ID when they're just resizing it. We haven't changed the object itself. And then this guy should get called. So I think this guy should get called immediately in this situation. Yeah, I don't want to call it every single time. The problem is that updated dimension signal. What was updated? I, th I think that's just return. What is? Go to definition. Just okay. Hit back. That is not what. Okay, so update dimension signal handler. Go to definition. And this is going to return a Boolean. So update old. Oh, okay. So that's so it's saying, hey, if we updated it, so and basically that thing was just hard coded to return true all the time. So and I guess we need to make this a let. All right. All right. So now I think what we want to do is we want to call update signal. We want to debounce update signal handler. Yeah, that must be what we want to do. We want to debounce it. Or not debounce it. We want to, yeah, we want to debounce it. So how do we debounce things? I know we have a new general timing debounce service. And it's called debounce service. So that makes a lot of sense. Man, I hope this works because I got this code is just like if this doesn't work, I might actually have to just delete all the changes and start from scratch again for this um, effort because um, we just have so many weird changes in this, and this is kind of a weird thing. So we could type in, I'm going to type in debounce service, lowercase and then uppercase. I think that's just a standard. It's not required, but and then debounce service. And then sometimes it just brings it in. It looks like it just brought it in for me. Yeah, see, it just brought that in just now. Although it's weird because it says I brought it in 13 minutes ago, and I literally it just came in just now. Um, all right. And so I believe it's like this dot debounce service, and then I think we pass in the function. which is, oh, okay, before I do that, I think this should probably have, I don't know if it needs to come after, but it seems like it might need to come after. Oh, 30. Okay. And again, we only want to recycle. We only want to set it up. This only needs to be set up one time, not every time. Rechange. All right, so this to bounce service, I believe we want to pass it this function. And we probably need to bind it. Okay. This expression, dot debounce. And now it wants like a whole function. It doesn't want, wait. Wants 2 or 3. All right, how did I do that? Go to definition. Oh, it gets a key. All right, forgot about the key. All right, this is where I really think this would get screwed up in a lot of places. So the key for this needs to be unique, and I'm gonna call it viz redraw component redraw. And then you have to pass it a function, and like sometimes you can just kind of get away with giving it the function, but looks like I need to do something along these lines. And it would not surprise me if this function, and this is going to be kind of hard to unit test, so we're going to have to create like a new function that we call directly, but I just want to see if this works before we get too crazy on that. And then let's give it a time of 100 milliseconds, and then sort of just talk through if this does in fact work, kind of talk through like, okay, what's happening here? And have we just created a new race condition? I don't think so, because it is a debounce. So we're just saying, hey, after 100 milliseconds, make sure you run this. And we're calling it the viz component redraw. Update dimension signal handler component. Update dimensions. Dims. I think that this would probably be a huge issue that if you were working at a place and you were like a senior or an architect or something, you would have to look for this all the time, because you want to make sure nobody reuses keys, and that could even happen very innocently. Like even like, because a lot of times we name things very similarly, so I could see that getting named, sort of misnamed. Um, I could see that even two teams that are working exclusive of each other naming IDs the same by mistake. Um, so yeah, that's going to be a high risk thing. You probably would want some sort of naming convention like that includes like the name, something where you can guarantee it'll always be unique. Okay, so update, and that will be like it's probably more of a whenever I create a bug where I've got two with the exact same name. That's going to be so hard to debug, I think. Maybe not. We'll see. Let's see, update. Now, what's going to be interesting to see is does it even work, right? When I resize, because I don't know about the binding and all that. It would not um, with regular code, it would not. Of JavaScript. Okay, so it doesn't look like it redrew because now I'm getting these. Well, it did redraw, but it's not. It's weird that it's getting this now. And it's like, I don't know. I feel like that looks right, but okay. I feel like the actual aspect ratio to me looks right now. But it's like the number here is reading wrong. But I do think the actual, to me, it looks like it's right. Um, I'm going to change this to 1000. So it's basically a whole second later. It'll, and I will say that I've worked at so many places where like they've had bugs that were around literally for like 2 or 3 years and nobody knew how to fix them or explain them. And they just like would just kind of act like they don't exist. And almost always it's something like this. Okay, so it definitely waited a whole second to redraw, but then it didn't actually do it. See, because that should be a square. It should not be like that. So even though it waited a whole second with the height and the width, and it did work, so that was good. Expected AR 106, calculated AR, but for some reason the calculated AR is still screwed up. And I do feel like that is something that needs to happen. The debounce service needs to, I mean, we need to wait. Okay, so okay, so I know that I've enjoyed having this. So this dot is width, is height. And I would never have guessed at this. Like, I really did not think, I thought this would just work. I'm genuinely surprised that this did not work. So it's not like that I'm trying to fake that I understand what's going on. It's just more like there's just no point to being like upset about it or something. Um, okay, so now when we resize, now we're looking for this is where it breaks. Breaks. Okay, so 706,522 is the right one, and 135 is right, but it didn't get set, and that is weird. Yeah, this one right here, this was right, and then render in, okay, 706, and then look at that, calculated ST renderer service, calculated for 32, right? And then this is what it used, and it's because it was still wrong, even even after the weight, it was still wrong. So even like I'm guessing that this happened like, oh wait, render so update aspect ratio for width and height. And width is misspelled. Okay, so update dimension signal handler gets called. Definition. What the heck? Oh, that's this one up here. Okay, so this got called let updated equals false, return updated. Okay. Render in native element. Okay, so is this debounced? Well, I guess it doesn't even matter. We wanted to know. Maybe this didn't even work. Okay, update dimension signal handler. This is in our viz component. And is it debounced? Good morning. Updated. So yeah, it could have been like, I don't know, maybe this didn't, but yeah, it's weird. It's like it's still using like even I think even at this point the actual, even though it took it a minute, I don't, it still seems like that was, and it was a long time, it still seems like it was still the wrong width and height, the actual thing. And who knows, like maybe that's something in Angular behind the scenes, or probably more likely something I don't really understand. Um, let's see, add viz, and then clear, and then this guy, clear, and then update. Okay. It was like the word debounced was what we. Oh yeah, it's the question mark's false. Oh, like so that got. Okay, let's do the question marks. Interesting. So it always returned false, even though it was right. And this returns updated true. Okay, so since there's a 1 second, it seems like it should take a minute for us to get there. So question mark. That is debounced, right? So we should only get here. I think we should only get here a second after we get done moving back and forth. I think. So there we go. All right. So updated is in fact false at this point. It's what doesn't exist yet. Render child is true. It does exist. Our new width and our new height is ah 602. So these are old. I'm a little bit lost. But I do like, I'd like the fact that we did that. Okay, so it is 602. Okay, so when I change it, it was something else. And a second later, so it is 655. But see, our element is still small. So the actual renderer like hasn't updated yet. And that is probably because the animation is what will update it. Actually update the div. So it's not using the new AR and it's not updating the div. It's it's like it's updating something is updating this outer thing, but it never updates. And we want to be able to set the AR. So like it's possible like we could in the animation thing, and I'm guessing, I think it's in the animation thing. It's possible that in the animation thing that we can say, hey, just go ahead and update to whatever the div is, but that is not always going to be the case. So we need to actually kind of what I was saying before and have a different way of setting the appropriate AR aspect ratio. And to be careful, to be completely like think about it, we actually do want, like I'm gonna want to be able to animate the AR. So it should not be tied directly, deeply coupled to the actual element, the actual native element. It should be what we say it's supposed to be. Um, and sometimes it's supposed to be the whatever the element is, but maybe not. Maybe never. Maybe it shouldn't ever be that. Um, because right now we know it's six. Is it updated? Six. Is it going to stay at 650? Okay, so when I make this smaller, okay, so that all updated properly, but this guy never changed the size, and since it never changed the size, it never it when it ran. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that was a design problem in the from the very, very beginning. Is this should never have been based on the AR should never ever have been based on the actual size of the um, element. It should always have been what we say it's supposed to be. Now, if we decide it should be off the element, then fine. But all right, so oh Lord, this is gonna probably be hard. So render a native element. Go to definition. And then see this is render, okay, append child. Wait, where does that AR get set? And see, AR is just the very first thing, right? There's going to be thousands of different attributes that we're going to be setting. And so we are just right at the beginning. So render service. Okay, so now I'm kind of going back to the end again. Let's go back to here. Go to our console. Get rid of this filter. Now, yeah, this guy, I believe. Yeah, update. This is in the render service, so it's in here. And here's where we do it, and then here's where we pass in the width and the height based on the element. But we don't always want it to be based on the element. Render, and this is update ratio variety for width and height. See, I think this was a mistake. Pass like I don't think I think update aspect ratio for width and height shouldn't be called by render ID. Shoot. Maybe it should. But I think we need to after okay, so it seems like what we need to do is we need to call update for width and height directly. And this is our ST renderer, and in our viz component all right, so where is our in our component in our effect? And then so we have this function that we're calling right here. So this is our function, and it calls these things. Not much of a function. All right, so this is our function, and then these are all the things that it calls. Well, no, this is the thing it calls. And then this is the meat of the first function. These are all the arguments of the first function. And then that, and then that's the end of the arguments for this function. And then we want to call update aspect ratio for width and height. Because I think we still want to debounce that. We don't want to call that over and over again as the person moves it back and forth because it happens too fast. But we still want to actually set it ourselves. And I don't know if we have the renderer service in here. It probably should be in visualization service. So let's go to our viz service since we kind of created this. And we're going to say set AR for width and height. And it's going to take a width. It's going to take an ID, STID, right? Is it our STID? Render. Okay, it's the render, ST renderer ID. And that's a number. And we have our width, which is a number, and our height, which is a number. And it's going to return a Boolean, at least for now. And then true. And then I'm going to boom, 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 boom. And then it's this .st renderer service dot update aspect ratio by ID for width and height. ST renderer ID. I think that's a good, maybe a good thing in general is to like never like try to determine based on what's happening, the element or whatever, or anything like that. Like control everything. Be like sort of a control freak. Like, okay, I want to control what all values are. I don't want to just count on, oh, well, this is that, so let's go ahead and just go off of that. Like, I think with this specific project, you have to be like very, very controlling, unfortunately, because I don't really like to control like that. But it doesn't seem like there's much of a choice. Okay, so basically, now we have this in our service. And this dot viz service dot. And I think I ended up. Maybe I'm not looking at the right. Oh, it does look like I do have the visualization service access to it here. Oh, it was viz component. Yeah, I guess I want. Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and get rid of that viz. Since I don't think I want this. I'm going to comment it out though, just in case. I may be a bit confused at the moment. This visualization service. Oh my gosh. Where is my component? Where are you? You, right there. Do I have access to maybe okay, so that's the renderer service, so never mind. Let's go ahead and put that back. Okay, so that's the wrong one. It's component. Viz component service. Dot. Okay, that's not the right one either. Oh my gosh. This is called component visualization service. Component visualization service. Dot. I need to freaking. And then I'm trying to get the renderer ID. The viz width. And that's a function. And a viz height. All right. So I think this will call console, go to definition. This will call this, which then will call this. And let's just double check that it is supposed to be the renderer ID. Go to definition. Yeah, it wants the renderer ID. And then it should publish the right aspect ratio and everything. We'll see. Don't know. Let's try it out. Oh yeah, baby. Looks like everything's working. Now, it is a bit slow because 1 second is a long time. But all the numbers are right. I think we have slayed the dragon. I am a little uncomfortable with the naming of these different services. I think that is confusing. Viz component service, visualization service, and component visualization service. Yeah, that's weird. Okay, so let's go ahead and change this to 100 milliseconds, which should be a little bit less jarring. Let's see, this view, then update, and then I think that is better. I don't know why we're getting, maybe it's just because of the shortness. Maybe you can only get this stuff to be so short, but I don't know exactly why it's too big, but it is looking good. I think that looks exactly right. And I think it should pass the end-to-end test now. Now, if we make it 60 milliseconds, then what'll happen is we should not really be able to perceive it. Maybe we still can, I don't know. And I don't know if it'll be a problem. Update. Yeah, so To me, it seems like it's better that way. It's not perfect, but I don't think I think it's outside of our control, that experience, but it is square no matter what. And these numbers are lined up. So I think that will pass. That'll cause the end-to-end test to pass. And we solved it. And let's see. Do we need this? I don't even know if we need that. Sometimes that is the hardest part. Okay, so I think we have to go through and just sort of, yeah, we're gonna have to figure out because we have changes. I don't know if we need this visualization element. But just to sum up, the problem is that no matter how much time we put, like on a debounce, the actual size of the visualization or the element that this was sitting in was not was laggy. It was lagging behind the actual um, size of the that we wanted. So when we resize this, we're like, okay, we want this to be a specific width and height, but like even I think you can even perceive it like you can see that it is um slower, right? Like there's this takes a little bit of time before it did that. So we had basically what you'd call a very, very classic race condition. Now we've just decided to, okay, I'm not going to just figure out from, the based on the current width of the element and the height of the element, I'm going to determine the correct AR. Now it's like, no, I'm going to tell you what the correct AR is. And that's really how everything is to be. Um, there's a lot of times where it's almost the coding is almost like surfing the waves or something like that. You're trying to just figure out where to slide in to get things going. This is just, and that is probably the kind of coding that I excel at, but this domain does not allow for that. You have to really, really control everything. Um, because there's just too many moving parts. You can't, the waves are just too complex. You can't just hook in anywhere. So, anyways, or at least that's where I'm at right now. But I don't know if I need this visualization. It's going to be hard to figure out if I need this. I figure we do need this. So probably the easiest way would be to go like you look in here, and then you look at the TypeScript, and you come up here and you find out what the name of the visualization is. So that's component visualization, which is misspelled. Control F. And there's four of these things. There, I'm just console logging it. And then I have this update dimensions parent. Okay, so this is my effect. I don't know if that's needed. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to comment this out, because if this isn't needed, then I don't think we need I don't think we need that component visualization. And you do not want to commit code that is not needed. That is just an absolute nightmare to maintain. Yeah, so that's good. So we don't need that, I don't think. So I think we can just comment this out. Let's go ahead and comment that out. Comment this out. It's better, like I always like to go through kind of a round of commenting stuff before I actually start deleting stuff because sometimes you'll need something and it can be a lot easier to figure out. What is going on? If you've like if something's broken and then you see a comment where you were looking and you're like, oh crap, I do need that after all. And again, if I didn't have end-to-end testing, I think this whole process would be a lot scarier. Okay. So I don't think we need this anymore. Right, that was the one we commented out up here, right? Was visualization. No, this was viewer. This was not. What did I do? Okay, so it was this one. Is visualization. I don't even remember seeing visualization over here. Okay, so I think I really just screwed up. Okay, so Control Z. Visualization is not the one I wanted to get rid of. I don't know why it still worked. This is called component visualization. Oh, Lord. So that's not even new, I don't think. Okay, so that's a while back. Okay. Back to here again. Oh, visualization is the new one. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong. Okay, visualization is the new one. So we had something else before. It was down here, I thought. Okay, so we got this visualization and we have, oh my gosh, do I have another weird issue? Viewer. Doesn't look like oh no, there's viewer. Okay, this was the one I actually deleted. This is the new one, right? Let's go back over here. Oh, wrong thing. App update. Okay, visualization is a new thing, not viewer. I feel like I'm going crazy. Okay, not this one. This one. Not this one. This one. Not this one. This one. So I'm thinking that I don't need that one anymore because that's brand new, but let's just double check because I looked at the wrong thing. It doesn't look like I need viewer either, which is a little disturbing. Okay. So component visualization. Okay, there's 4 of them. All we're doing is logging it, and then we're doing this thing. We're doing this thing. Go to definite. Oh, okay. Oh, and then we're calling. Oh, okay. So this is how we're calling it from the parent to update dimensions. Okay, so that's right. So we added this function in here, which I don't even think we use any. Actually, update dimensions parent. Yeah, this does nothing. So we definitely don't want. So this was, I guess, a path that we took that didn't actually amount to anything because all it does is do a console log. So maybe it was just for timing purposes. Who knows what? But I definitely don't want it anymore. Okay, so it's this thing, component visualization. It's like, hey, this doesn't even exist anymore. And I'm like, there we go. Man, I can't even tell you like how many hours I probably would have wasted at some point in the future trying to figure out what the heck that even does. And then to find out that, oh, and it doesn't even do anything. And then like to be able to be like, oh, I'm pretty sure it doesn't break anything. So it was kind of funny because actually my initial name to bounce the redraw update after browser resize actually ended up being the right thing. But boy, was it a long, confusing path. All right. So now we don't need this anymore. And I don't know. Do we? I guess we could keep this. There's no reason not to keep that. I don't know if it's even accurate anymore, though, now that I think about it. On, is it still building? All right. I don't know. I guess we don't even want any changes to this. There's no reason to add that confusion. Yeah, discard changes. And then come in here. And I don't know, do we have any changes in here either that matter? Doesn't look like it. Editor view. It's kind of wild. So we added this editor view. Exists equals true. What did I change? Oh, it was viewer view and then editor view. Okay, so I don't know why I have that. Editor view. Update ST visualization size. I don't know. This is weird. So I changed it to viewer view. Do we even have viewer view? Isn't that what we just deleted? No, okay. Oh, okay, I renamed it. Yeah, that's right. So we renamed that because it was a weird name. Okay, so I think we do need that. Just a quick go over. Debounce, bring in the debounce, run that, get rid of, we have a bunch of console logs. This new logic I think is important. I was very surprised we didn't have to do binding. We do have a bit of copy paste here. But it is just copy paste of a single function. It just happens to have a lot of arguments. And then, yeah. So it looks like when we're all said and done, there's not going to be a whole lot of changes. So console logs. I think we do use this set AR for width and height. Publish their service. Okay, so we definitely don't need that. So that's an easy one. Renderer service. Cool, we don't need anything in there. Then camera service. Don't need anything in there. So that's good. And viewport resize service. I don't think we need anything in there either. All right, so let's just make sure everything still works. I can't see how in the world we could have broken it, but definitely seen weirder things. Add viz, view, boom. Boom. I wish I understood these things here. For some reason, something isn't resizing properly. So we got to figure that out. But I don't think that, I think that is a good issue. I'm sure that won't be that hard to fix, but it's probably like, let's see, inspect, div, app layout, app root, body. For some reason, our body is, well, our app root is really big. Something is pushing it out. It looks like this guy, parent, has like a width of 1000 when it probably should only have a width of like, let's go to update layout, 926, but its actual width is that. I'm guessing it's because it's style. Probably should not be, like its width should probably be like, I don't know why it's got a width. Say width 100%. 100 VH, VW. Will that make it smaller? Oh, let's see, 600px. Oh, okay, so that is the bottom one. Okay, so are we still too wide? So he's probably not the problem. And I don't think this guy's the problem because he doesn't have his own width. Width is 600px. Yeah, see, that's not. Let's see. So it's probably something down here that is doing it. App root. So I feel like this is the problem. Let's say display block. Okay, so now the app root is still, but the body's still big. With 100%. 100 VW. Oops. Nope. 600px. Okay, so now the body is small enough. That root is small enough. The app layout menu is definitely small enough. See, now what you can do at this point is you can start like deleting elements. just try to figure out what in the world is causing delete element. Delete element. Okay, so that did seem to be the issue, was the update for some reason. Let's see. Okay, yeah, we don't have any problems at this point. Okay, so and let's go with this view and then update. And now it's too big. Spect. So if I delete this guy. Width is 931. I think that is probably the issue. Now if I open this and the canvas, yeah, see the canvas is only 723, so this thing has a hard-coded width of 931. So we need to figure that out. Let's go to GitHub and go ahead and make an issue for that one. Repositories, space and time, issues. Okay. And see, this is an issue that is now visible after, like it's a new issue, but I don't think it's a, I don't know, we might end up having to fix it as part of this. Issue, so viz, viz component size is not shrinking when the user makes the viewport smaller. And a really more narrow is a bit more precise. I think what I want to do is just copy paste this right here. And then that there. So oh, I guess I need to go to the preview to see what it's going to look like. Okay. So the visually, the element, see data, CY visualization. Should be smaller. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if this does be smaller. Let's go to preview. Well, W723. Not W. And actually, that might actually have been the problem from the beginning, but I like our solution that we came up with better than like so. This thing might have been staying too wide and not updating properly, and that might have been the problem, or that could be something that's new that we just created. Don't know, but Um, I don't know if that's going to solve the problem, but we need to fix that. That needs to be fixed. Um, right. So now let's go ahead and just dig through these again one more quick time. Okay, so I just commented it. Let's go ahead and comment this one. Probably want to run the end-to-end tests before I do a commit, just in case there's something really broken. I don't think there is. It is possible that this will cause a failure though, because it looks like I do grab onto that. The nice thing is I do grab onto that, so I should be able to determine the width, and it should be pretty easy to fix it. That was just a rename, and then this guy can go. All right, so that was a good round. Let's just double check that we didn't break anything. Doesn't look like we made any substantial changes, so that's good. I am starting to think this might be like an approach I want to take, is document at the top what will trigger the event. Kind of just, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be tired tomorrow, so I just want to kind of set myself up for success in the morning, which I believe is like run the run the end-to-end tests and double check that they still work, that nothing new is broken. It would not surprise me. It really, really wouldn't. If something's broken, but I don't think anything's gonna be broken. My guess is nothing is gonna be broken, but it wouldn't surprise me. And I do think we use that. Let's just double check that we do in fact use this. Yep, here's where we use it. Okay, sets the I think it's very clear what that does. I don't think there's any reason to put a comment there. All right. So that's that. We slayed the dragon. That was a tough one. That was a really, really hard bug. Happy coding, everybody. Bye.